here. Welcome to Geeks Series 22.
Yep, and it's Vicky here as well in the background. I'm still recovering from some surgery, so I'm out of the picture for a bit, but I'm here.
She's here with me.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And it's also 2025, so it's a new year. What we're going to make in our first episode today is we're going to make these window pouches. Now, I make them a bit out of leftover bits and pieces sometimes. Sometimes I get a little panel and I quilt it. But it's to put in little bits and pieces that I lose and I want to keep together. This has got my bias makers in it, and this has got circle templates in it. And today I'm going to make one to hold, they're all tangled, these little template set.
Now, where's that template set from, Heather?
It's from Jess Oakley Roots. We got that out of the US. And it makes a tiny little envelope pouch, pocket, card holder, something, gift card holder. Anyway, I made a couple the other day and I was really happy with them. And they were very quick make. But it could also hold something like, these are my square templates. And where are those up and round? Oh, and I've also got a set of round templates. These were actually for, they're quilting rulers, but to keep them together. But they're also good circles to have. So I'm going to put these out of the way because we don't need these for the make. What I'm going to use today and what inspired this was I end up with tremendous quantities of little bits of leftover quilted fabric. This is from a bag I made for my daughter-in-law who's a scientist. There's a bee bag. Some of these Vicky made, some of them I made, buttons. So I have all these bits of leftover quilted foam and I use them to make these little pouches. What I need are 4 pieces of what I'm going to call in this instance zip binding. I've cut these at 1 1/4. These 2 will be on the top of the zip because I have no fold in them yet. And these 2, so one of them's going to be lining and one's going to be, what's the other word? The outer.
The main fabric.
The main fabric. And just because I can, I've gone quite mad. There we go. I've got a rainbow zip pull on our
Rainbow.
I have a piece of leftover clear vinyl, which is, we call this splatter because it's kind of got a holographic. Anyway, this is really cute. And the reason I chose to go with not a clear vinyl was because this is the piece of leftover quilted stuff we have. I'm putting that on the back and I love a bit of chartreuse, let me tell you, people, I really do. That's going on the back, but this is the inside. So it's a piece of purple grunge. And I also decided it's much easier when you have these if you've got somewhere to hang it, because I've got pegboard behind me and if I can hang it up I don't lose it. So I did that and that matches, interestingly that matches the zip tape. I'm just trying to be matchy and and black and white binding. And I'm using our double-sided wash away tape, which the needle doesn't mind. I have put a jeans needle in the machine and I'm using a polyester Gutermann thread, and I've also put a roller foot on the machine because when you're going over this vinyl it can get a bit sticky and I find this easy. And I've put my Teflon mat down. I know they're a bit of an extravagance, but my golly, when I sew with vinyl,
Sticky vinyl.
The first thing we're going to do, I'll put everything away and try and keep my space neat and tight. So what I'm going to do, and I decided to have my circles as the outside on this piece. This is a piece of K Facet fabric too that I found in my stash. I'm very lucky. So here we go. So what I'm going to do is clip this. It's in here. I know it's in here. This machine too, one of the beauties of the Brother is that it is very quick and easy to change the presser foot on. So I'm going to clip this on the front. Now, some people would say baste that on and then clip the, I think I might. Because otherwise, when you're sewing 3 bits of material together, I've got my stitch length set at, and I'm going to baste this at about 1/8 of an inch. Notice I left my needle down, press a foot up, and I moved the zip pull. So now I'm going to do my final seam. Now this will be the top of the top gusset. Do you want to get one of those?
Yes.
Have I got the zip pull? I do have the zip pull going the correct way.
Okay.
For a right-hander, because I put back tack on and it worked. So I'm now doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I want my very good. You know what I'm using. We sell these in our shops. Pardon me, we've only got one shop. And they are the Bienni Stiletto, and they really do work particularly well. I'm going to go back a bit further because otherwise I don't want to take the pull off the end of the zip tape.
You'd just get me to fix it anyway.
She would. She would fix it. She's very good. I don't do it without a tool. You want to put the tool in front of the camera, Vicky? But Vicky's taught herself. Down there. Yeah. How's that?
Yep, that's in the camera.
This is our
zip
exclusive zip jig. You put your pull in here backwards and you slide your tape on. If you came to our stall, I would demonstrate it, and I'm pretty sure, isn't there a...
there's an Instagram video and reel, a Facebook, and a Facebook Live of us slightly bickering, but showing you how to use it.
We kept going out of focus. No, that's not quite right. The
camera.
The camera was focusing on the bit we didn't want to talk about it. Anyway, we never bicker.
They're exclusive to Electric Needle Girls, as we have them made by a local craftsman, and they come in a variety of colours. If you're going to be at any of the Craft Alives in Victoria this year,
Southern Australia, really, we're going to venture interstate.
Yeah, we are venturing interstate this year. We are going to be going to Canberra and Adelaide. We're booked into, unless something diabolical happens, which we're hoping doesn't. That's our plans.
Now, I'm going to top stitch this. As usual, we have a joining stitch length of 2.5 and a top stitch length, I'll get that thread out of the way, top stitch length of about 3.5. Now I'm going to put on the bottom binding in the same manner, but it has a fold because we are going to encase the vinyl up in it. Right, we'll finish that. But so I put double-sided tape on this because I want to put it up into this gap, and I will do one side at a time. Of course, there we go. I'm pulling. Oh, there we go. Came off all very easily. So I'm going to slip it into this gap. Now I've got this piece fairly long at the moment, so we can trim it away. Always better to be a little bit too big rather than a little bit too small. I got the paper only. I can't. Yep. So there we go. So that bastes it in place. Probably
now she's going to top stitch.
I just want to make sure, because that has to be, that I've got enough vinyl to cover my, yes I do, so it's all going to go like that. It was a scrap piece of vinyl and a scrap piece of quilted fabric and a scrap piece of zip tape, and what else do we have scrappy? Even this piece of black and white fabric. So I'm so glad I've got my Teflon sheet down, because the vinyl is not sticking to the bed of my machine, and it probably would do. You can do that with tissue paper or a Teflon sheet that you put down with masking tape probably. I might trim this off a little bit so I can clip it into place, and I have got my trusty shears here, not my good Kai scissors, because no, you're not allowed to cut anything but fabric with those. But so now we're going to trim this down to, oh, I didn't say also, did I tell people that I basted 1/8 or even a bit less around the edge of this just to hold it together? There we go. So I'll make sure that I don't make it too small. I like having window pouches too, because I don't lose what's in the pouch. Now I'm going to trim this down as well so it doesn't get in the way, because I kind of need to know where I'm going. And you can see why I'm using my shears, because I think we'd have to say that's probably, I've got these hair clips, which didn't you find some from one of our suppliers? Didn't you find rainbow hair clips?
I can't recall.
I think you did before Christmas. We thought, oh, people might like those. I'm going to, so because if I put the clips on, they can't go in far enough, so that's why I'm using these ones. They work quite well. So I'm going to now put the roller foot back on, because we will be sewing over the
Vinyl.
That one. This is a basting stitch, and I've left it on. I actually might even increase the stitch length a little bit more. I don't need back tacking, because it's a basting stitch only. So you can see now how this is coming together, and with the stripe binding, I think that might be, we might be here. I had to do that by feel. Using your fingers is very important. So you can also see now that what we talk about with sewing over the zip tape that's done up, it just gives us a much neater edge. So I'm now going to trim this up again to the level of the quilted fabric.
I'm not cutting out.
Okay, so I've got that vinyl foot set on that. I am going to also do this with long threads. I'm going to back tack, but I'm also going to not use the thread cutter on the machine, and I'll probably tie off the threads or melt them or something. I've got a tiny little handmade label here, and I'm going to baste that in with some double-sided tape. I think I put it here.
Okay, so that's positioned.
I think I want to...
So this is the handle that Heather was talking about earlier.
So I need to... I did put a ruler there somewhere, next to you there. So it measures 6 inches, so if we go in... I do need the clips back now, don't I? So I'm going to base this in place first. See all these little bits you add on. That will hang up like that. But it's very important to have it down.
For attaching the binding.
We're attaching the binding now. We're going to pull that long thread through. It's hard to see black thread. There we go. Thank you for... See, you do need, when you're talking, and I get into trouble because I talk too much, you need somebody to keep you online. So I'm going to sew along here to 1/4 inch before the end, and I've got an air erasable marker here. Did you run up? I just need a ruler.
Neither Heather nor I in our natural timelines are tidy people, so we need to kind of keep each other.
I understand what she's doing, but it kind of annoys me. I can see it, that's an air erasable marker, so that'll just disappear. I'll get rid of all these bits because I want a back tack down here too.
So Heather stopping at 1/4 inch from the edge there. Back tacking. Now if anybody who's made a quilt, they'll know what she's doing here.
So yes, I'm doing a quilt binding. I also probably didn't mention that I cut a width of fabric for the, up, back down parallel to this side, and then I start in, but I back tack at the beginning and the end. I'm going to be going over this label that we put in.
Now Heather, why did you stop there?
Because I'm going to do my magic quilt binding. The really important thing to do with this is when you do a quilt or when you do a bag or anything, and I do this, I don't like folding it over, is that the actual body of the bag needs to be toward you. If I do it any other way, I twist it. Now I've folded the binding and I've got about 1/8 inch between the two folds of the binding.
So she'll see this little slither of purple between the binding.
It's about 1/8. I cut one of them at the fold. So I am using the width of the binding, because if you cut your binding at 2.5 or 2 1/8 or 2 1/4 or whatever, that's what you want the folds to be. I've cut this at 2 1/2, so that's why I use the width of the binding to cut the other side. So you cut one at the fold and one at the width of the binding. Then, and this is where it gets a little bit more difficult with bulky things, but I do it with quilts. I clip them together to give me some space to work with. And then, because I now have space, sorry.
Do forgive us, I am trying to keep up with Heather's movement.
This is a bit fiddly, but I will.
She'll endeavour to pin it so you can then see what she's done.
I pin at the corner, so you...
Hands is all I got.
I'm sorry my hands are in the way, but I need to use my hands to do the... I'm not a very good YouTuber, people, or whatever. I'm not doing YouTube, I'm doing Geeks, aren't I? And pin it there. Sorry, people. And pin it there. Now I have pinned from the point to the point. I also check to make sure I don't have a twist, and I can see I don't have a twist. This
is easier to do with quilts than it is to do with bags.
but I'm stubborn, and I like to try.
Yeah.
I've got my awl, and I'm going to take the first pin out because I can't reach across the other side.
Per your schedule.
And that's it. It's the beauty of having this very clever machine that I don't need my hand to lower the presser foot. Now I'm aiming, I'm feeling there's only 2 layers of fabric there. I thought I turned that off. Oh, I didn't turn it off. I am aiming for the other point and take that pin out now. That's done its job. And I'm aiming for this point. My watch magnetised to the microphone.
Okay.
Can we see that?
Yeah, that's same.
Sorry, just let... So, before I... Because I'll trim these off. But before I do that, I take these clips out. And I check to make sure I have no twists. Now I will just pull these up.
Now, you don't have to do a diagonal join. It just does make it a bit less obvious that there is a join.
Now I finger pressed scratched it with my nail. I finger pressed the seam open because, as we know, we like to distribute the bulk on bindings. Have I got it there? Yes, I've got it there. And we're going to go back in here, and I'm going to line my needle up with the... Seem to have just taken a little bit extra. I don't know what I've done. I'm just going to have a... I'm just going to move my needle back to the position to get my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I've got my back tacking on. Just decided not to. I don't know what it's doing. Now I've got a bit of fullness here because I've stretched it a bit. So that's what the side of Bianni's awl does, is actually a bit rough, and I'm taking out some fullness, so I'm easing it in. It's not smooth. Look at, I'm sorry ladies and gentlemen, but look at that. Did I match up those stripes, or did I match up those stripes? Now I will turn this over and I will clip it down this time. You can see my handmade label is just poking its little head out there with its little bow.
So if you can over the white if possible.
Sorry.
Yep.
I've got my strap on the back. I'm going to get rid of these threads. And I do need my clips now again. Sorry. I'm old and I can't see. Now what I'm doing at the back is I fold over the bit that we'll sew second, and I fold over the bit we sew first there, so that when I'm sewing from the front, because I like to see where I'm sewing, I don't have a bump. I'm sewing off a bump, not into a bump. So I'll do that again here. So the second bit, fold the second bit down first to form your mitre. So you push your second bit down second. Your first bit down second. I'll get it out in a minute. And
sew it up all in one.
might be better to sew it up all in one. Might be worth giving that a go, I think.
Okay.
Right, now this is where I want my long tails, because so I'm back tacking, and I will then pull my tails through to the back, and I'm sewing up that handle. Just need to position that one now. I'm going to back tack there.
Pull your threads out.
I don't know whether I'm going to pull them through to the back or cut them off and flame them. They might, because I've back tacked, they may not. I'm going to cut them off because it's quicker. Loaded window pouch, and you've hidden my things. Where did I put them?
She hid them herself.
I hid them myself, yes.
Well, thank you for watching. This has been
Geek Series 22,
Well-
Electric Needle Girl.